The special call meeting of the Rutherford County Board of Education on this September 3rd, 2024. We have two new board members with us tonight, beginning their term, so I want to welcome them tonight. So we have Mr. Butch Vaughn, so welcome aboard the board. So glad to have you with us. And we also have Stan Vault, who is newly elected, so welcome to the Board of Education. Look forward to having you both serving on the board. So thank you. Also, we have Ms. Maxwell, Claire Maxwell, who's served on the board for some time. She's been reelected to her position, so congratulations, Ms. Maxwell, on that, and look forward to having you here for an additional term. So, with that being said, we'd like to go ahead and call for the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask Mr. Stan Vault to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me for a moment of silence, if you would. Thank you. We have no visitors tonight, so this is a special call meeting called for the purpose of electing a new chairman to the Board of Education. So the first item we have on the agenda tonight from a business standpoint is the election of chairman. So I'll open the floor for motions at this time.
I'll make a motion we elect Claire Maxwell.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to elect Claire Maxwell as chairman. Do we have any discussion?
I have a question. About the way that we did it last time, we said multiple names, and if there were multiple names, you voted for the name that was selected. Is that correct? Versus just voting on one individual at a time.
It's up to the board how the board wants to proceed with the election of chairman. It's how you want to proceed doing it. We do have a...
I'm just talking about the nominating process. I'd like to nominate Ms. Darby.
Mr. Reed.
Yes, Ms. Rosales.
When I first came to the board, we only nominated one person. It was second, and then it was closed. The first time that I sat in the seat to make nominations for the chair, we were only given instructions to nominate one, second it, and vote. We were not, the option to nominate other board members was not on the table, and we were told that it was not something that we were going to do. The very first time I sat on this chair. We have one nomination, and we second it. I feel like we should go ahead and move forward with the vote, just like we did the very first time when I sat here on this chair, the very first time we voted for a chair.
Do we have any further discussion on this point? Mr. Tidwell?
Yes. So anyways, by the rules, we did it the correct way with Ms. Bratton. And so I'm going to go ahead and make that nomination as well so that we can continue the process that we used previously. Which is kind of how like the directors was elected whenever they did the director. I think you had the votes separated that way.
Do we have any more discussion?
Yes, Mr. Reed?
Mr. Rosales.
Thank you. Can this process be what the board elects to do, the majority? If the majority decides to just move forward with what nomination that was second and we vote on it. Because if that's the case, then why did we just vote for one person the first time that I sat here? And Ms. Bratton was sitting on to my right, to my right, and she asked this very same question, if there could be other nominations, and respectfully, Mr. Reed, you told her no.
Do we have any further discussion on this?
I don't have a problem. They can nominate all they want to.
If Mr. Tidwell would feel better, we'll do.
So, Mr. Tidwell, what are you proposing as far as the process?
All right, as far as the process, I think we should do it like we did it last time, which is if there's more than one nomination, then there's a roll call vote, and each individual lists out the name in which they are in favor of voting. The majority of that vote then would be to be decided and be the final decision of the board.
Okay. Are there any other discussions on that process? So if I understand what you're suggesting in the process, then we would open the floor up to multiple nominations. Each board member would vote whoever they choose to be chairman. At that point, we will tally up those votes, and whoever gets majority of those votes would then be the chairman.
Yes, that's the process in which we did it last time. And again, everybody's going to have different opinions on different things, and this is not personal at all. I just feel like that's the process we used last time.
Okay. Do we have any more discussion on this process? Mr. Vaughn, you made the motion that was seconded. Do you have any objection to having the process, the vote been taken best by everyone voting, each board member voting on the two nominated board members that have been chosen? Okay, if there's no objection to this, then what we'll do is have the election in this manner. You've heard the two, I should open the floor to any other nominations for chairman, though, first. Are there any other nominations for chairman? Hearing none, I understand we have two nominations for chairman. We have Ms. Maxwell and we have Ms. Darby. So what we'll do, ask for a roll call vote and have each board member vote for who they would choose to be chairman. Does that process sound appropriate to everyone? Are we agreeable to proceed in that manner? Are there any objections to proceeding in that manner? Okay. Hearing none, then we'll take a roll call vote, and each board member will cast their vote in favor of which of the two nominees for chairman they wish to place their vote for. We have Ms. Maxwell and Ms. Darby. So can you please take a roll call vote?
Mr. Tidwell.
Ms. Darby.
Mrs. Darby.
I'm going to abstain.
Ms. Sharp.
Darby?
Mr. Vaught. Mrs. Rosales.
Maxwell.
Mrs. Maxwell.
Maxwell.
Mr. Vaughn.
Maxwell.
So the votes are what?
We have 4 for Mrs. Maxwell, 2 for Mrs. Darby, and 1 abstain.
So the majority would be for Ms. Maxwell for chairman. So congratulations, Mr. Maxwell, as a new chairman. And as a new chairman, you get to sit in this role and then officiate over the election of vice chairman.
I open up the floor for nominations for vice chairman.
I nominate Francis Rosales for vice chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations?
I'll nominate Tammy Sharp.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So we have any more discussion? So we have Francis Rosales and Tammy Sharp as nominees for vice chair. Would you do a roll call vote, please?
All right, Mr. Vaught. Ms. Sharp.
Sharp.
Mrs. Darby.
Mrs. Sharp.
Mr. Vaughn.
Rosales.
Mr. Tidwell.
Ms. Sharp.
Mrs. Rosales.
Rosales.
Mrs. Maxwell.
Rosales.
So you've got 3 for Sharp, 4 for Rosales.
Congratulations. Thank you. Rosales. That'd be the end of our business. We are adjourned from this meeting.
We have a finance.
We have a